Great to see you. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Always a pleasure to be here.
So you just returned from Afghanistan. Give us a sense of where you went and share some of your observations with us.
Well, the previous trip, we spent most of our time in Helmand province and down around Kandahar, which, as you know, is the desert part of the country, some mountains. This time we were primarily in Kunar province, which is hard up against the Pakistan border, to the east, I would say, the Middle East of the country. It's one of the 2 or 3 most active combat regions in Afghanistan.
And how did you frame your reporting? Was there something in sort of specifically that you were trying to sort of get at this time? I mean, you've been to Afghanistan 11 times, I mean, 2 times in the past year. Give us an idea of some of the trend lines that you've observed, both negative and positive.
Well, number one, the United States has dramatically changed, and its allies. We've dramatically changed our strategy in Afghanistan. We went from a strategy of we will fight the Taliban and their al-Qaeda allies wherever they are, to, beginning last summer, a strategy of this spreads us too thin, is not the best use of the resources. We're now going to try to protect population centers. That doesn't necessarily mean only large cities, but a population center of 2,500 to 5,000, for example. And we're going to go with that strategy. So that's number one. We sought to explain the strategy, what it was, how dramatic it was, changed from the previous strategy, and how is it working. Because it is working literally hand in glove with an effort to build governance from the village level up. I attended meetings with elders, talked with the State Department and other civilian workers who are trying to build a sense of you, Mr. or Miss Villager, you are involved in the government. So on the military side, protect the populations. On the soft power side, build governance from the ground up. Together with trying to build the economy with such things as retaining walls, catfish farms, orchids, and that sort of thing.
So you would say in all of the time that you've been going to Afghanistan, especially recently, that you have seen some improvements in terms of the picture?
Well, I think there has been some improvement. I think the critical word there is some. I wouldn't want to kid anyone, and I don't think our military men and women in uniform would try to kid anybody. That the momentum has been with the Taliban and its allies for about the last year and a half. What we're attempting to do and what President Obama is attempting to do with inserting these additional troops is regain the momentum from the Taliban. It now swings in the balance.
Right, but do you think that the troop surge will work? I mean, given the fact that the momentum has been with the Taliban?
Well, here I must depend on the people on the ground, both Afghans and U.S. people, military and civilians. They think it can work. I italicize the word can. The question, all right, it can work, will it work? Again, I think we have to see this very clearly, those of us in this country. This is number one, odds against. The president probably chose the best of some very bad options. Number two, it is going to take time.
What do you think that we've missed in Afghanistan?
Well, my personal opinion is what we've missed. It's a fairly long list, but it begins with not understanding that al-Qaeda is not physically centered somewhere, where right now I think al-Qaeda is much more centered in Pakistan than Afghanistan. But al-Qaeda as it now exists is internet centered. And I don't think we understand. We say, well, okay, if we really hammer down on Afghanistan, that's going to eliminate the al-Qaeda. It may eliminate al-Qaeda on the ground there or reduce them. But al-Qaeda is worldwide, it's internet based. So that's one of the things I think we don't. The second thing I don't think we understand is the fulcrum of the war in the region of Afghanistan is now in Pakistan, not in Afghanistan, because most of the al-Qaeda are there. I would say those 2 things. The number 3 thing is to realize the government that we are supporting in Kabul, it is corrupt, it's dysfunctional, it reeks of mismanagement and cronyism. And that's a huge barrier to what we're trying to accomplish.
All right, Dan Rather, thank you very much for joining us.
Always a pleasure to be with you.